Have you ever felt rejected? That sinking feeling like someone's turned their back on you, leaving you questioning your worth? What if I told you rejection isn't the end, but actually a tool you can use to your advantage? That's right. Today we're diving deep into the art of reverse psychology, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the philosophy of Stoicism. Before we start these 13 lessons that will change your life, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to skip a beat, I promise, because what you're going to learn today has the power to change your romantic life, relationships, and even how you see yourself. Put on your seatbelt now, because this isn't your normal self-help speech. We're using both modern strategies and traditional wisdom to transform rejection into power. Come on, let's go. What if you employed reverse psychology to make someone come to you rather than chasing them down or feeling defeated? That is the main focus of these 13 lessons. Imagine yourself in a crowded room, maybe at a networking event or party, and across the room from someone you truly want to talk to, but they seem uninterested no matter what you do. It is akin to being rejected. These lessons come with a powerful attitude shift and a plan to help you not only deal with rejection but also use it as a tool for personal development. They are based on the concept of Stoicism, which teaches us to stay calm and logical no matter what life throws at us. Lesson 1. Ignore them too. Imagine now altering that script by doing something unexpected, like ignoring them as well instead of pleading or pursuing them. Can you tell me if you have ever felt invisible to someone you cared about a lot? It could have been a close friend, someone you liked, or someone you admired. Despite your best efforts, it seemed like the more you tried to get their attention, the more they strayed. Isn't that painful? This is a story. Let's take a look at this individual. Alex, his co-worker Sarah, had captured Alex's heart. She seemed uninterested in anything Alex did and was polite but distant. On the phone, he would greet her, compliment her attire, and even offer to help her with her work. However, Sarah didn't reciprocate. Alex decided that one day he would try something new. He stopped messaging, he stopped offering help, and he focused entirely on himself. And what do you know? Sarah noticed. She started talking to him and asking him about his day. Why? Due to the fact that individuals are naturally drawn to things that are beyond their reach. Ignoring someone isn't about being rude. It's about giving them space to enjoy your presence. Lesson 2. Don't beg for attention. Now let's take a moment to be honest. Did you ever plead for someone's interest? Perhaps you didn't actually say, "Please notice me," but you made an effort by attempting to be with them all the time, sending duplicate texts and making repeated calls. How did you find that to be? Not very good, isn't it? The trick is that begging for attention is like trying to hold water in your hands. The more you try, the more you can't. Now let's go back to Alex. When he stopped chasing Sarah, he realized he had more time to spend with himself. He started spending time with friends, learning new skills, and going to the gym. There was a noticeable increase in his confidence. Sarah was no longer merely watching him. She was now interested in him. You see, confidence spreads easily. When you stop begging for attention and start to value yourself, people will naturally start to pay attention. Lesson 3. Cut off contact. All right, here's a difficult question. Have you ever found it difficult to let go of someone, even though you knew their presence was toxic? Maybe you thought they might alter their mind if you waited a little longer, but you knew deep down that it would be best to leave. Alex and Sarah arrived at this conclusion. Her interest started to grow, but he knew it was insufficient. Her actions did not match her words, so he broke off contact, taking a chance. No occasional check-ins, texts, or phone calls. It was challenging but freeing. In actuality, cutting off contact is not about punishing the other person. Rather, it's about getting your energy back. When you walk away, you give yourself permission to heal, grow, and move on. Ironically, that's when people start to see your value. Lesson 4. Don't react emotionally. Let's get emotional now. Have you ever reacted angrily to someone rejecting you? Perhaps you texted them in rage or made a passive-aggressive message online. What was the aftermath of that? Not very good, isn't it? The lesson here is that you maintain your composure and make a strong impression when you don't react emotionally. We learn from Stoicism that emotional responses result in the surrender of our authority. Alex had to learn this lesson the hard way. Sarah said cynically one day that he was moving on. His first reaction was to lash out, but instead he grinned and turned to leave. That small act of self-control said a lot. Lesson 5. Remove them from your mind. It's hard to believe, but sometimes it's best to let go, both mentally and physically. Have you ever had someone take up all of your thoughts, replaying conversations and making predictions about what might happen? Isn't it draining? You have control over your thoughts, not external circumstances, Marcus Aurelius. You will discover strength when you realize this. You may live fully in the moment when you stop worrying about someone. What about the irony? They frequently return after you've stopped being obsessed by them, wondering what went wrong. Alex realized that he would not be able to continue unless he stopped thinking about Sarah. He started writing in his journal, practicing meditation and focusing on his priorities. Are any of these stories familiar to you? Maybe you're thinking about a one-sided relationship or a love you've been seeking right now. In actuality, you can also take these lessons from Alex's life. By ignoring, refusing to appeal, cutting off communication, being calm and letting go, you can turn rejection into an opportunity for personal growth. The following lectures will go even deeper into these ideas, so stay put because we have only just started. By the end of this video, you will have a thorough plan for transforming rejection into power. Who knows? You might even write your own love story along the road. Lesson 6. Demonstrate your value. When was the last time you felt truly proud of yourself? Think about it. Was it a major achievement? Like completing a task at work perfectly? Or maybe the start and perseverance of a new pastime? Now think about it. What if you focused on bettering yourself instead of chasing after someone who turned you down? Doesn't it sound powerful? I'd want to share a story with you. Remember Alex? He realized after he stopped talking to Sarah that he had been so preoccupied with winning her. Over that, he had forgotten about himself. The events were altered by Alex. He started focusing on his own goals, going to the gym, creating a podcast, and even picking up the guitar, something he had always wanted to do. Soon, he was demonstrating his value to himself as much as to Sarah. And what do you know? People start to notice you when you start to succeed. They can't help but wonder, did I make the wrong decision? As they see you grow. The lesson is that when you prove yourself, you not only win people over, but you also win yourself back. Lesson 7. Prove them wrong. Have you ever been told that you're not good enough? Maybe someone questioned your abilities, disregarded your potential, or worse, rejected you outright. How did it make you feel? Were you offended, incensed, or maybe determined to prove them wrong? That's exactly where Alex found himself. He must have been stung when Sarah informed him he wasn't her type. Instead of letting her comments define him, Alex used them as fuel. He thought, okay, you don't see my worth now, but you will. And he started working on himself to become the kind of person who didn't need her approval, rather than to gain her praise. The saddest part is that after realizing how well he was doing, Sarah started getting in touch with him again. Retaliation is not the aim of proving someone wrong. Rather, it is to motivate them to be less skeptical. Remember that rejection is not a reflection of you, but rather of what they cannot see. Then point out their shortcomings. Lesson 8. Build your social status. Allow me to illustrate something for you. Imagine witnessing someone at a party, surrounded by others, laughing, sharing stories, and generally illuminating the space. Now picture yourself as that individual. What is the sensation? Fantastic, huh? Alex's social circle expanded after he started focusing on his own growth. He joined a hiking group, made new friends, and attended networking events. Before long, he was Alex, the person everyone wanted to know, rather than just Alex who was rejected by Sarah. The irony is that rejection doesn't hurt as much when you're confident and socially connected, because you realize that your value isn't dependent on anyone. Additionally, the person who rejected you will start to realize how you've changed. Trust me, it will eventually happen. Lesson 9. Act as if they don't exist. This is a challenging question. Can you identify someone who seriously hurt you? Even when they stopped, you kept thinking about them. What if I told you that the best way to deal with them is to act as though they don't exist? Listen to me, even though it sounds harsh. The strange thing is that they often start focusing on you when you stop focusing on them. Why? Because people are naturally drawn to things that are out of their reach. Alex decided to stop wasting his time on Sarah if she couldn't see his value. He lived his life as though she didn't exist, not checking her social media accounts or wondering what she was up to. And you know what? He felt more liberated the less he thought about her. Acting as though someone doesn't exist is the goal of regaining your time, energy, and peace of mind. Lesson 10. Give them the silent treatment. Let's be honest. Have you ever tried to convince someone of your point of view, provide an explanation, or engage in additional conversation in an effort to win an argument? How often did that work? Probably not as much as you had anticipated. Silence is one of your most powerful tools. Alex cut off contact with Sarah and waited for silence. He didn't try to email her to explain himself, post cryptic quotes on social media, or try to make her envious. Instead, he let silence to speak for him. And mystery is produced when you remain silent. People start to doubt your actions, your composure, and most importantly, if they were wrong. Silence changes the balance of power. It's not about playing games. It's about choosing your peace over their attention. By now, you're probably starting to see the trend. These teachings are all about finding who you are and building a life so amazing that you don't care what other people think. They are more than just how to deal with rejection. But we're not quite done yet. In fact, the magic takes place in the upcoming lessons. They will show you how to hide your troubles, how to be understanding when you are rejected, and above all, how to have fun again. Stay with me. The best is yet to come. Lesson 11. Be kind but emotionally distant. I want to know if you have ever been friendly to someone in spite of their cruel behavior. It wasn't because you wanted to get even, that showed grace and bravery. Imagine doing it with someone who rejected you, but with a twist. You no longer let them inside your emotional space even when you are being kind. Wondering? Let's begin. Here's where Alex found himself. Remember Sarah? When Alex moved on and became more self-centered, Sarah began to notice. Every now and then she would text him to greet him or to compliment him. The former Alex would have taken advantage of the situation to attempt to rekindle the extinguished flame. But this new Alex? Despite his politeness and friendliness, he emotionally separated from her. He would reply to her messages with warmth, but he would never go too far. He would respond to a few inquiries about his life, but he would never become overly emotional. The lesson's significance lies in the way that curiosity turned into intrigue. First, this showed Sarah that Alex was no longer in desperate need of her attention. He wasn't nice to her because he wanted anything from her. It was just who he was. Second, Sarah became intrigued. Why had he lost his emotional availability? What made him less concerned than before? This illustrates your maturity, self-control, and the fact that your generosity is a reflection of your strength, rather than a need for approval. It also shows that you may restore your authority in a subtle, but effective way by continuing to be kind, but emotionally detached. Lesson 12. Don't reveal your struggle. Have you ever felt pressured to share your pain with someone who has harmed you? You might have thought that they would feel awful or act differently if they only knew how much this affected you. But here's a little secret. Sharing your difficulties frequently gives them the upper hand. We should go back to Alex. He was hurt, devastated even when Sarah rejected him. The issue is that Alex never let her see that pain. Instead of posting depressing quotes on social media, complaining to friends, or even telling Sarah how deeply she had hurt him, he kept his troubles to himself and dealt with them in healthy ways, like journaling, talking to a close friend, and focusing on improving himself. How does this work? Because people admire strength. Resilience is exhibited when you keep your struggles to yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the famed Stoic philosopher, once said, "Stop wasting time debating what a good man ought to be. Be one." By keeping your pain to yourself, you show strength and self-respect. But this is not all there is to it. When the individual who rejected you realizes you're not intimidated, a switch gets flipped. They start to wonder, did they even care? How can they handle this so well? This investigation leads to a shift in power. Not the person who was rejected, but you are the one they find incomprehensible. The lesson here is to handle problems in secret. Address your emotions without letting others use them. One of the most attractive traits one may have is silent strength. Lesson 13, go out and have fun. Now tell me, how recently have you enjoyed yourself? It's not the kind of fun where you're trying to impress someone or make them envious, but rather the kind where you're genuinely enjoying life and laughing till your stomach hurts. Remember that feeling? Imagine yourself doing it after being turned down. That sounds impossible, doesn't it? I promise it's not. After going through all of this, rejection, self-improvement, and emotional development, Alex decided to take drastic measures. He started focusing on happiness and stopped thinking about Sarah at all. He started salsa dancing, went on spontaneous road trips with friends, and even tried stand-up comedy for the first time, all for his own benefit and not to make Sarah jealous. And you know what? It was contagious. First his friends noticed, then strangers, and finally Sarah noticed. The issue is that when you're having a good time, you radiate a passion that is difficult to duplicate. People are drawn to you because they want to experience the same joy as you, like a magnet. The best part is that you are doing it for no one else. Life is too short to spend it worrying about rejection, but there's more to this than meets the eye. When you go out and enjoy yourself, you remind yourself that happiness is independent of other people. It's really liberating to realize that you don't need other people's approval or acknowledgement to enjoy life. The lesson I want to impart to you is to not allow rejection to define who you are. Go out, do new things, laugh till your cheeks hurt, and create memories that have nothing to do with the person who damaged you. Because the finest kind of retribution is not to prove them incorrect, but to live a life so rich and content that you cease to care about them. Conclusion. Whether it's being kind but distant, keeping your problems private, or just going out and having fun, these actions are all about taking back your story and living life as you see fit. Here are 13 lessons on turning rejection into power, based on the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and reverse psychology. But remember that these lessons are about you realizing your value first, not someone else. One more question for you. Before you leave, which of these lessons most resonated with you? I would love to know what you think, so please leave a comment below. Additionally, if this video was helpful to you, remember to like and subscribe. Until we cross paths again, thank you for watching.